I don't come here proclaiming to have all the answers, but I am here to answer, and I'm happy to answer any question that anybody might have.
Please.
You mentioned that 80% of the children don't have breakfast. What's the reality of living conditions? Is it as bad as the perception that people don't have enough to eat? I know unemployment is very high. Are the living conditions as bad as perceived that it is a virtual prison camp? I won't even use any worse description than we hear.
So the question is, what is the real reality? Is it as bad as it's described, the virtual prison camp? What is the daily reality?
You know, the living conditions are as difficult as you might imagine when you see the images on the TV screens. 80% of the population are aid dependent. So that means that they go down to our distribution centre to collect not their 3-course meal. They go down to collect their 5 food items that have to keep them going then for 2 months. And that's it. It's an emergency ration, which in Africa and elsewhere is only supposed to be something you give a population to get them over a gap period of a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Sadly, for so many in Gaza, this is what they've been living on now for years. The aid dependency, as I say, is 80%. The infrastructure, water, 90% of the water is undrinkable because the water table has become very polluted by the nitrates and the saline, and this is a huge dilemma. The sanitation infrastructure is also very much overloaded. 80 million cubic litres of untreated wastewater and sewerage are pumped into the Mediterranean every single day. And again, you will smell that when you drive down the coastline. So again, this is a very big ecological issue, not just for the coastline of Gaza, but for the wider Mediterranean. The tens of thousands of homes that were damaged or destroyed in the last round of conflict, I mean, they still stand waiting to be repaired, because again, the $4.5 billion that was pledged in Sharm el-Sheikh in 2009 has not been mobilised because we don't have the access to get the raw materials, the construction materials into Gaza to do the major recovery and reconstruction. But I think, of course, most important of all is the outlook. When you have such high levels of unemployment, you then have a lot of despair. And again, what we're wanting, we know that there's no one step that can solve everything. But what we need is more bigger steps that give people the real hope that things are actually going to develop positively. And you have a first world place in terms of infant mortality and the usual measures of human development that is now being de-developed by the circumstance. So everywhere else in the world we're involved in development, and here there is actually a regression going on, and that's why Sarah Roy from the Harvard University has coined the phrase de-development for what's going on. So we don't have emaciated bodies, but we have a lot of hungry children. They're not starving, but we shouldn't be waiting to act until they're emaciated, because of course what should be concerning us more than their physical, and we should be very distressed about their physical hunger and state of physical well-being, it's the impact on their psychology, on their psychological welfare, and how they're being shaped and developed by these circumstances in terms of their thinking and their values and their outlook and so on. And again, that's what you don't physically see, but it's the thing that should worry us most of all. But of course it's being driven by the physical environment, which is very, very difficult. And again, we hope that, as I said earlier, we've now turned the corner For too many years, every day was worse than yesterday. Now, since the new Israeli government decision on adjusting the blockade, every day is better than yesterday. The frustration is that it's not as better as it could be, and we should be encouraged more by the positive impact. I mean, the tunnel economy, for example, is down by 80% in this last period of time. That means that the black marketeers are down in their revenue, and the legitimate business are correspondingly up. This is very positive, so let's be encouraged by that and do even more. Let's not be distracted by the fact that the shops are now full of consumer goods, that is going to change the status of aid dependency of a population. When people are going down to our distribution centres, as 80% of the population are, it's irrelevant to them what's in the shop, because they can't afford to buy it. Except that they're encouraged that now that they see those things in the shop, they have a real reason to hope that maybe the next step will be that we will have raw materials for industry to start again. So again, the people of Gaza are a hopeful people. They look at the positive developments as a basis upon which to hope that there will be more positive developments. But I would also ask that we not deceive ourselves that those positive developments are the totality of what's going to make a difference. I mean, they're nothing more than the beginning of the process of getting to where we need to be, which is, of course, to triumph over the security challenges, to triumph, to take the power away from the guys who fire rockets and so on, to dictate action. We must be stronger than that. We must find ways to effectively overcome that challenge and continue with, as I say, the development of a circumstance and an environment which is positive.